What is up, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about what the Enneagram can teach us about money. But before we get started, I want to let you know that I was hesitant to do a video on the Enneagram and money because I know that some people use the Enneagram as a big excuse. This usually looks like someone saying, this is just who I am. This is just my type. I have no control. And that is false. Another reason that I was hesitant is because I don't like labeling people or putting people in boxes. However, there's still a lot that we can learn from the Enneagram framework. My hope in this video is that you can use this information to better understand yourself as well as your spouse or other family members. As we go throughout this video, really focus on why people do what they do. What is it that motivates them? A big part of my coaching is understanding what motivates people. I help my clients find motivation and learn how to motivate themselves. So to recap, while the results can be scarily accurate sometimes, this framework is still a tool and not an identity. With that being said, let's dive into type number one. Type number one is known as the perfectionist. So these people are extremely meticulous, hardworking, reliable, detail-oriented, but they can also be compulsive, have a need to perfect themselves, others, and the world around them. Some financial strengths would include budgeting comes very easy to them, and they love the numbers. There's not a lot of ones in debt, or at least they're not in debt for very long. They can create a plan, and they can also, more importantly, stick to it. Some financial weaknesses include slipping from being responsible with money to very rigid with money. They can be very overly critical of themselves and others because there's always something to fix in their own finances, at least in their eyes. And they find doing anything with money other than being productive is very difficult and possibly wasteful to them. They can get caught up in the spreadsheet and not enjoy the results of their hard work. They can be judgmental toward others who enjoy spending and giving. My advice would be, no one loves the numbers like you do, so be sure to extend grace to your spouse and those around you who feel okay being in debt or not budgeting at all. Come alongside them instead of retreating into isolation. Be aware of your rigid and hoarding temptations and lean into being a little spontaneous with your money. Set aside money to give away every month and make sure you're enjoying the results of your hard work. A book I would recommend for you is Profit First by Mike Michalowicz, and the budget system I would recommend for you would be Excel. Moving on to type 2, the helper. So the helper loves, obviously, to help. They really enjoy loving others, supporting others, and they want to win the appreciation of people. They have a very compulsive need to meet the needs of other people and live their lives very aware of others. Some financial strengths include they are generous to the max. They see money as a tool and not a status. They see and meet needs sometimes before they are even voiced. They are very dependable, and they are someone who people go to when they need help. Financial weaknesses include they may be overgiving. They may be giving without any thought, calling it love, but this may be enablement or being just overly involved in the lives of other people. They can feel guilty for enjoying to spend money. Saving is not always super high on the priority list, and they can also get caught up in wanting to be viewed as generous while ignoring their own financial woes by focusing on the financial needs of others, basically not taking care of themselves first. My advice is that tough love is still love. Be very aware of your tendency to enable or be taken advantage of, and set very clear boundaries in your life. Make sure that you and your family's needs are met first before giving to others. Show grace to others that don't have the giver's heart the way that you do, but also spend your hard-earned money on what you enjoy guilt-free. The book I would recommend for you is Everyday Millionaires by Chris Hogan, and the budget system that I would recommend based on your motivation is the Every Dollar app. Type 3s are the achievers. So type 3s have a very compulsive need to succeed or appear successful, and most importantly, avoid failure at all costs. These guys are a goal-crushing machine. They are able to inspire others with their financial accomplishments. They're very driven, and once their mind is made up to save or to get out of debt, they make it public and they just go for it. They accomplish it. They want to be a role model, and they want to be really a picture of what's possible for others. Some financial weaknesses include spending money on status and appearance, projecting an image of success, and trying to hide reality. If they get overwhelmed, they are oftentimes afraid to get help, and failure is their biggest fear. This can hold them back from exploring their full potential, and they can get caught up in sharing the results of being debt-free as a way to get attention. This can then lead to pride and arrogance. When they work hard, they don't want to wait for the result. They also want instant gratification. My advice is to embrace failure. Failure is good. Change your mindset about failure as fast as you can. Get vulnerable with people you trust, and share your failures while asking for help. Also be aware of getting caught up in pride and arrogance, as well as isolation. Focus on getting a supportive tribe around you and lean into failing. I can't emphasize that enough. Show grace to those who aren't as driven and motivated as you are. The book that I would recommend for you is Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, and the budget system I would recommend is the 50-30-20 budget rule. Next up is type 4, the individualist. The individualist needs to be special or unique. They want to have their emotional needs met above all else. Their financial strengths include the following. They don't let money control their lives, and they are not stressed about it. They're able to find creative financial solutions and really able to think outside the box on ways to make money and save money. They don't need to spend money to attain a status quo or impress anyone, but at the same time, they know how to dream big and fantasize about financial freedom. They are extremely sentimental and would sometimes rather have something old with meaning than have something that is brand new. Their financial weaknesses include they avoid budgeting due to lack of interest. They might say something like, it's for more structured people. It's not a good fit for me. There's no creativity in budgeting. Sometimes they can also pay too little attention to money, and they can spend emotionally. They can also sometimes lack a desire to get out of debt, but if they want to, they will do it on their own terms and in their own way. Instead of taking practical steps, they're fantasizing about financial freedom can actually get in the way of them making progress, and this can become a source of shame. My advice for number 4s is to make budgeting your own by designing it and having it reflect who you are. Be aware of your tendency to spend emotionally and take credit cards and card numbers off websites that you know you go to when you are feeling down. Partner with someone who can turn your dreams into reality. The book I would recommend for you is The $100 Startup, and the budget system I would recommend is a paper and pen. Number 5s, these are my people, the Investigator. The Investigators are very emotionally detached. They're very analytical, they're very private, and they don't want to feel overwhelmed. They have a compulsive need to understand and perceive everything. The financial strengths of number 5s include they know all the options and they research the best process. They enjoy learning new hacks, tips, and tricks. They're very analytical and able to identify problem areas and solutions. They enjoy optimizing their budget, and they make sure that they are getting the most bang for their buck. They do not care about social validation or a need to keep up with the Joneses. Their financial weaknesses include they can get caught up in the research and then end up not executing. They pay too much attention to the numbers and ignore the behavior behind the habits and desires. They can also have a tendency to become socially isolated and then not follow through with their goals. My advice for you fives is to bring people into your journey, whether that means posting about it on your socials, letting family members know about your goals. You really need a strong support system to hold you accountable. Allow others who aren't as obsessed with the numbers get the space that they need. Talk about other aspects of the budget, finances, like mindset, what your rich life will look like, and how you can help others with your wealth. The book I would recommend for you is I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. The budget system I recommend for you is Excel. Number 6 are the Loyalists. So the Loyalists are very security oriented. They're very hardworking and responsible, and above all, they are trustworthy and obviously loyal. The financial strengths of the 6 are that when they believe a system works or a friend or family member shows them a financial process, they have zero doubts about it, and they will defend it to others as well. They value being in good financial standing, and they desire financial stability from their spouse or family. They enjoy saving, and they are usually not tempted to spend the money that they are saving. Affirmation from outside sources gives them motivation and the strength to follow through with money goals. Their financial weaknesses include looking to outside influences to make money decisions, and those influences can be negative and sometimes louder than their own voice. They stress and worry about worst-case scenario finances, even with money in the bank. No amount of savings will make them feel secure. They fear change. Money brings about very negative emotions because they are constantly fighting off a scarcity mindset. And they usually worry until someone comes alongside them that they can trust. My advice for you is to journal about your gratitude and the things that make you feel safe. Be around optimists and people who speak truth to you. Be aware of who you are getting money advice from, and don't be afraid to own your voice and opinions. Don't equate your worth to your financial stability. A book I would recommend for you is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and the budget system I recommend is the Every Dollar app. The next Enneagram type is Type 7, the Enthusiast. So Type 7s are fun-filled, spontaneous, they love adventure, and they want to avoid afflictive emotions. The financial strengths of 7 include enjoying spending money and having an abundant mindset. 7s are very optimistic, and they use money as a tool to have fun and be social. They are highly motivated and have a strong start when they decide to make a financial change, and they feed off the energy of others, and that helps them to stay on track. The financial weaknesses include spontaneous can quickly lead to being impulsive with money. They oftentimes think in the short term and not long term when it comes to money. They are also not interested in investing or saving, not interested really in budgeting because it will make them have to face their financial flaws and position. They start out strong with money and are motivated, but that motivation can quickly dissipate and then they are on to the next thing. Too many options can also derail 7s. My advice for you is to harness the power of focus to channel your energy toward your goals. Don't give yourself too many options and recognize when your spontaneity will hurt you financially. Set up automatic transfers to your savings and investing for the long term. Give grace to those who are calculated and not as active. The book I would recommend for you is The Power of Focus, and the budget system I recommend is the cash envelope system. Type 8 is the Challenger. I love the Challenger because they connect with people by challenging. Confrontation feels like personal connection to them. Their financial strengths include having a lot of opinions and wanting control over their money. They want to get the best deal, the best negotiation. They have enormous willpower and they resist being indebted to anyone. They are aware of what others think, but they don't let that sway them or influence them. Financial weaknesses include they are very go big or go home when it comes to money. They're either all in or not at all. They have trouble being vulnerable and asking for help. They can be known to shut down and block others out in an attempt of self-preservation. Once they get their eyes fixed on material things that they want, it can be nearly impossible to sway them with logic or emotion. My advice would be don't dig your heels in on a bad idea and be open to the opinions of those that you trust. Be vulnerable and ask for help if you need it. Give grace to those that shy away from you and those that don't have the go-getter attitude that you have. Use your fearlessness of negotiating and enormous willpower to get you closer to your financial independence. The book I would recommend for you is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. The budget system I would recommend is the 50-30-20 budget rule. And finally, number 9, the Peacemaker. The Peacemaker obviously wants to maintain the peace. They maintain connection and avoid conflict at all costs. Type 9s really shy away from confrontation and disagreements. Their financial strengths include they do really well with a plan that is set out for them. They work well with others who have their best interests at heart, and they don't worry or stress about finances. Type 9s are very optimistic, usually focusing on the positives, and they have peace of mind when it comes to their finances. They're very patient and are willing to delay gratification of material goods. Their financial weaknesses include they can drift away from their goals and find it very hard to stay motivated. They go with whatever someone else wants to do, and when they have to do something outside their comfort zone to reach their goal, they look for a way around it and they stall or procrastinate. They can become very complacent with debt and the status quo, and they will make financial decisions not based on what is best for them, but what will bring about the least amount of conflict, and that can be very dangerous. My advice is to be on guard about giving into others' demands and discounting your own legitimate needs. Set healthy boundaries when it comes to your money and surround yourself with people who want you to succeed. Write down your goals and put them somewhere that you will see every day. Take breaks if needed, but don't quit. The book I recommend for you is The 12-Week Year by Brian Morgan, and the budget system I recommend is the Every Dollar app. There are so many different personality tests out there. I find that the Enneagram framework is especially helpful when dealing with money because it pinpoints what exactly motivates people. My hope is that this video helped you understand what motivates you a little bit better. And like I said at the beginning, I hope that this helps you understand your spouse or your family member or your friend a little bit better as well. If you got value out of this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Which number is you, and what fictional characters would you have used to describe your specific Enneagram type? I would love to know in the comments below. I will see you in the next one, guys.